I saw something trending on Twitter yesterday, first day of Nebraska camp, that Casey Thompson is the starting quarterback. And I thought, did they just come out for no reason
No,
and say that he's the starting quarterback?
no, I think that's media types just talking. That obviously, I think you bring in Casey Thompson, expecting him to be your starting quarterback. They haven't. No, I mean they just had their first practice. That's the first time that he's had a helmet on. Obviously, they practice. First day they're in shells anyway, so it doesn't really mean much. But that's the first time that he's had a helmet on, and that he's actually been throwing, in a halfway live situation in front of the coaching staff and in front of the defense and other what they've worked with, on the offense in their own time. So I mean, that's media people just saying that, coming in. I mean, and obviously that's kind of what you assume. That's why you went after him as a guy that's established, and then you got your plan B with Chubba Purdy. So it's an open competition, and do not leave Logan Smothers out of it. Don't leave Heinrich Harburg out of it, because just listen to Garrett Nelson break down day one, and talking about all four of those guys I just mentioned with their different strengths. I mean, obviously Logan's the big time runner out of the group. Casey Thompson's the guy; he's the pocket guy. Chubba Purdy's the dual threat guy. I mean, he's just as good of a runner as he's a thrower. And all three of those guys are fast. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously we know Logan Smothers is fast. Chubba Purdy is a fast guy too, and so is Casey Thompson when he wants to be. And then you got Heinrich Harburg, the tallest, the biggest stature guy that just throws balls on a rope and just snaps it in there on all those routes. So it's going to be a real cool competition to keep your eye on here going through spring ball and then on into fall camp.
Had Casey Thompson accomplished what he showed on the field at Texas last season and done that at Nebraska, and we were coming into a season in which he was already the starter and he had thrown 24 touchdown passes and put up the numbers that he did as a Nebraska Cornhusker, I fully expect and support the coach coming out if he fully believes that, this guy's the starter. We want him to continue to be the starter. He's proven enough, and saying he's the starter. But on the flip side, Casey Thompson did all those things and they're credible, but he did them at Texas. And so I think it's a bad message to the quarterback room if the coach would come out and say, this guy comes in from Texas and he did all this stuff at Texas and we're going to make him the starter before you guys ever step on the field and throw a pass. I think that's not the way to do it. It's a new team. It's a new guy. He's got to prove it here.
And a brand new offensive coordinator as well.
Yeah.
That obviously is not going to be running the same stuff as Nebraska ran last year, which, that we all know was a very heavy run-oriented quarterback spot, which you're not going to see that anymore. And that's what Casey Thompson fits the best, because if you watch his film at Texas, he's not a guy that's going to run first. He's back there. He's scanning all of his different reads. And when he does take off, he takes off for a reason. And he does a pretty darn good job of picking up yards when he does take off to run. And like I said, he's not. It's not like he's running in molasses. So, yeah, you're looking at a lot more controlled passing scheme that you're gonna see from Nebraska this year, and you're obviously not going to see 20 some runs from the quarterback position. That's just not going to happen. That's why you're working on a power offensive line, a power run game. And then, with all your finesse with the receivers, some of this crazy talent that you brought in at the receiving position, 5-star, 4-star on down. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch watch this thing develop. And we haven't even mentioned the tight end spot. That obviously we lose Austin Allen, who's in Indianapolis this week for the NFL Combine. I think tight ends go on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But you bring back Travis Volkolek, who's another guy that's probably going to be an NFL player next year. And then your bell cow recruiting class last year with Thomas Fidone, who missed most of the year with injury, and another thing that with spring ball right now, Travis Volkolek's going to be sitting out most of the spring, if not all of it. So that means it's Thomas Fidone's turn to take that position over here in the spring and really show what he can do. So, yeah, you got to love what they got with the various weapons and all the new possibilities that we're going to see out of things. And that's the one thing right now that's kind of cool as well, that it's all mystery right now. We haven't seen any of it yet. All we can go off of is what they told us that happened yesterday in spring practice number 1.